Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to greet visitors at church. And a lot of the tips and strategies that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, we've been using at my church, and it's helped us connect with our guests on a completely different level and help keep us out of those super awkward situations. I think they can help yours too. Let's dive in. Hey, what's up, y'all? My name's Chris Abbott, and I've helped thousands of churches attract thousands of new visitors. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down some of the tips and strategies that I've learned at my church along the way after attracting over 1,000 visitors and connecting with them through Plan Your Visit and through people just showing up on Sunday. And I'll also share with you a secret that I recently learned from a church that went from 150 people to over 1,500 in just over a year. Coming up. First thing I recommend that every single church does is utilize Plan Your Visit. So this is actually going to change the way that you're greeting your guests, because if people sign up for Plan Your Visit on the front end, now you have a chance to actually greet them and talk to them before they ever set foot on your church property. This has been really, really key for us at my church. In fact, we've increased our first-time visitors by 42% in the first month, 60% in the second month, 87% in the third month, and 113% in the fourth month when we first started implementing Plan Your Visit. So it's pretty simple. All you want to do is have a page set up on your website where people can sign up and plan a visit and just submit their name, email, and phone number, and essentially they're scheduling an appointment to visit your church on Sunday. Then you can call them, have a great conversation. You can reach out and say, hey, what's up? This is Pastor Chris. Listen, I saw that you planned a visit for this Sunday. I just wanted to reach out and introduce myself personally and then answer any questions that you might have, right? About, what to wear, where to park. And what makes this so powerful is that you actually have a chance to have a conversation before they ever show up on Sunday. Now you can actually assign a friendly host to host them on Sunday. So you can let them know, hey, when you guys get here, make sure to come in the big glass double doors up front. And when you get here, Katie's going to be waiting for you in the lobby as soon as you walk in. Right? She'll help you find some seats. She'll introduce you around, help you get your kids checked in, give you a tour of the church. And then we also always recommend making sure that all of your Plan Your Visit hosts make sure that they meet you as the pastor, because 80% of first-time visitors who meet the pastor on the first visit will come back for a second visit. All right, next up, people don't remember what you say, they remember how you make them feel. So one of the things that you have to be conscious of whenever you are greeting new visitors at church is how you're making them feel. So guests don't want to be pressured the first time that they're at church. They don't want to feel pressured to give or to volunteer or to join a small group, right? A lot of times they're just there to kind of check it out and kind of feel it out. So you just want to make sure they feel welcome and comfortable. All right, next up, the first impression. Now, this is really, really important because, as we all know, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So in fact, a guest will actually make a decision whether or not they're going to come back long before the sermon even starts, right? So I know that's kind of devastating news for us as pastors, right? But it just shows the importance of the first impression. And that actually starts in the parking lot when they get here for the first time, right? Were they greeted? Did someone park them? Were they smiling? Were they friendly? Were there crossing guards? Were there people in the parking lot? Were there greeters at the front door, right? However your church is set up, make sure that you have smiling, happy people who are greeting, because that first impression they get when they first come onto campus is really, really important. All right, next up, don't use inside language. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am the chief of sinners on this one, and I've done this a ton of times. In fact, I literally sat there at my church one time, and I was on staff, and we were walking through, and a first-time visitor came up to me and pointed to one of our signs that said sub 30 every Wednesday at 9 p.m., and he said, hey, bro, what's sub 30? And I literally sat there, and I felt like someone had just punched me in the face. Like, I literally just thought, what are we doing? Of course nobody knows what sub 30 is, right? Now, we knew that was our 18 to 30 college ministry, right? But man, we called it sub 30. That's insider language, right? So what we should have called it was college ministry, right? Or college and career ministry every Wednesday at 9 p.m. That way, first-time visitors know exactly what that is, right? Then once they get there, they can find out the name for it is sub 30, right? So after we did this, I actually went through and I had our staff, we tore down all of our signs and we completely redid all of our signage across the entire campus, and we redid it with guest-friendly language. So we tried to completely eliminate insider language. It's really easy to fall into this trap because you're so used to talking about things the way that you do. In fact, a lot of churches won't call them services, they'll call them experiences. But guess what? First-time visitors have no idea what an experience is, right? So you want to make sure to use language. It's okay to call the names of your ministries or the names of your services, anything that you want to internally, but make sure when your signage where a first-time guest might see it, that you're not using insider language. Okay, so I was recently on a trip out to a church in Michigan doing a little bit of consulting, and this church has absolutely exploded, right? So in the last year, they've gone to 150 to over 1,500 people. Incredible church, incredible pastor, amazing people. And they told me a story is as they were growing recently, and they've had so many visitors coming in, and he came up to one of the staff members and said, "Hey, why do y'all work so hard to make it so confusing?" Right? And so obviously the staff member was like, "Man, what are you talking about?" And he started pointing out all these things all over the church that made absolutely no sense to someone who's coming in for the first time, right? Some of it was the name of their ministries, right? I've seen this happen at other churches where it's like, oh, they call it Sparkle instead of their women's event, or they'll call it Chaos instead of their youth ministry, right? So this church had made that same exact mistake. They used a ton of insider language and they had all these different names for things. And so this guy was like, "I don't understand what anything is. You guys have to work really hard to make it so confusing. Why don't you just call things what they are," right? And so the staff member did the exact same thing that I did at my church, like, "Oh my gosh." And they went in and they changed everything. They changed the names of their ministries and a ton of their events to make everything super clear to first-time visitors. All right, so before I get to my last couple of points, if you're liking this video, make sure to subscribe because we put out brand new videos, fresh content every single day, 5 days a week. All right, next up, treat them like family. So one of the most important rules that I have at my church and that I have with all the churches that I coach is that they are not allowed to treat people like VIP. Here's the deal. Nobody shows up to church on Sunday wanting to be a VIP, right? That's for rock stars and celebrities. People come to church because they want to feel like family. They want to connect. They want to find people like them. So don't treat people like VIP, treat them like family. That means every single person that comes through the door, if they're a first-time guest or even if they're just new and they're trying to figure things out, make sure to just treat them like family. Right? So one of the best ways to treat them like family is to go up to greet people, right? High five, fist bump, ask them how they're doing, ask how the family is, right? Again, we're not treating them like VIP, we're treating them like family. So this is a really, really important thing. And that's one of the reasons I like Plan Your Visit so much, because what would you do if you had been inviting your best friend or maybe your uncle or maybe one of your cousins or maybe your brother or sister, and you've been inviting them to church over and over and over for years, and then one Sunday they said, "Okay, we're coming to church," right? What would you do? Man, you'd probably be out in the parking lot, right? Like putting up cones and blocking off a spot right up front. Then you'd be escorting them inside. You'd probably show them around the church. You'd make sure to introduce them around to some key staff and leaders. You'd shield them from all the weird people, right? You would make sure that they met the pastor, right? Because 80% of people who meet the pastor the first time come back for a second visit. And then you'd probably have seats saved for them in the sanctuary already. You'd sit with them in the sanctuary and you would just make sure that they had a great time the whole time, right? That's how you want to treat every single person that comes in. Every single person is a gift from the Holy Spirit. And so we need to treat them like family, not like VIP. All right, next up, be enthusiastic, but authentic. So there's nothing worse than going to a church when people are so over the top excited that they're freaking out and they're high-fiving and they're going crazy, but you can tell everything's just not authentic, right? They're doing that for absolutely everybody and it just doesn't feel right. So you definitely want to be enthusiastic. You definitely want to smile. You want to be excited to see people, but authenticity is going to trump hype every single time. So make sure to train your volunteers and all of your greeters. Hey, be encouraging, be excited, but be authentic. And finally, never ask someone if they're new. Now, this can go sideways a bunch of different ways, and I've seen it happen multiple times. I've actually made this mistake myself, right? But if you see somebody that you've never met before, don't ask if they're new, because if they are, now they're gonna be self-conscious because they feel like they stuck out like a sore thumb. Oh my gosh, like, man, do I look new? Do I look like I'm lost and wandering around? Or if they're not new, they might be offended because they're like, no, I've been going to church for 5 years, right? Now, maybe they haven't been in a long time, right? But you can end up offending people or starting things off on the wrong foot if they're new and even if they're not new. So never ask if they're new. Instead, just go up, introduce yourself, and ask them how long they've been going to the church. All right, so if you like this video and you want to learn more about how to use social media and technology to grow your church, then head on over to churchgrowthagency.com and check out the free video, or you can simply click on the link in the description below. See you soon.